The Netflix Death Note movie is hot garbage. Yeah, it's really bad. I know most people expected it to be bad. All anime movies are bad. All anime movies will be bad for the rest of recorded history. Guess what, guys? I liked this movie because it's animated. If you take that away, I won't like it as much. I don't understand why they don't get it. Anyway, I watched this movie knowing that I was probably going to get mad, but holy shit, it is so incompetent. I was surprised at how messy and inconsistent a movie can be. It's been a while since I got this upset. Now, originally I was going to approach this video as a review of the movie for people who haven't watched the anime or read the manga. I was going to see if this movie worked as a standalone experience. Spoilers, it doesn't. So then I realized that ignoring the original series is impossible in this case. The movie literally takes elements from the original series and just makes them worse. So if the movie's going to be that awful, then yeah, I'm going to compare them. Now, I'm still not going to rely on comparisons between the two, but there are some parts where I am not going to be able to help myself. I'm going to try my best to explain why this movie sucks all on its own. Now, you guys know that I like to start off my rants by talking about the stuff that I liked. I like to give everything the benefit of the doubt. So what did I like in this movie? Not really a lot of things. I like this one scene right here.
Now I'm rooting for this guy.
You just shut the fuck up.
That was probably the only time that the movie intentionally made me laugh. I was still laughing, though, believe me, but not because it wanted me to.
Are you kidding me?
You put my name in the book, I got mad at you. You said you loved me, I thought you would take the book.
What else did I like? I like that it wasn't 2 hours. Alright, so let's go to the stuff that I didn't like. Now, when you start this movie, you might originally think, okay, so this isn't really that bad. It's not very good, but it's not, like, offensive either. It's not awful. But then you get to the halfway point of this film, and shit just gets crazy. So let's start with the first half of the movie. The problem with this section is that the pacing is way off. At the 2-minute mark, Light has the death note. At 8 minutes in, he meets Ryuk. A short while later, he kills his first person, and then shortly after that, he gets a girlfriend. This shit speeds up way too fast. I understand that they have to cram all this content into this movie within an hour and 40 minutes, but with the writing so rushed, you never get time to actually learn anything about Ryuk, Mia, or even Light. We've met all the core characters at this point, but we don't really know anything about them. There's some brief moments where we see Ryuk, Light, and Mia all in the same scene, and it starts to get kind of interesting. If we had more time to flesh out these characters, this movie wouldn't be nearly as bad. I'm not saying make the movie longer though, don't do that. Please don't make this movie 2 hours. I'm saying make this a show. Spend more time fleshing out the relationship between these two characters. Spend some time making your main character likable and relatable in some way. You spend this whole movie not really knowing anybody that well, and you hate everybody just about equally. So Light has the death note, he has a girlfriend, he has a demon following him, so now he's like a super murderer, and he decides to come up with a name for himself. Now, in the original series, Kira was a name given to Light by his followers, kind of a cult status. In this movie, his reasoning for picking this name is this.
It also sort of means killer in Japanese, so if they're gonna be looking for him, it's gonna be on the wrong continent.
That's really dumb. This is the first point in the movie when you're gonna realize that the logic of this film doesn't really make a lot of sense. That is a really, really dumb idea. But here's the thing, guys. His dumb idea actually works. The cops actually think he's fucking Japanese. When L first gets introduced, he's like, hey guys, guess what? I'm super smart, and I can find Kira because guess what? I know a secret. Kira isn't really Japanese.
The FBI thinks the killer is operating out of Japan.
Because of the name, Kira.
But the name is an intentional misdirection.
Hi, I'm Captain Obvious.
That's what you figured out? That's the first thing you're gonna reveal to us? That doesn't make you look very smart. That makes you look even dumber than Light. And that's saying a lot. Also, in case you didn't know, in the original series, L likes to eat sweets. He's kind of like a man-child, and it's just like a cute character quirk. But in this movie, they decided to give him a reason for why he eats fucking candy.
The insulin spike from the candies will focus your mind for final consideration. When it fades you asleep for 1 hour.
What the fuck? L doesn't need a reason to eat sweets. He doesn't need one. They don't explain why Ryuk likes apples. That's something that the original series does. Here's the thing, Ryuk liking apples is weird enough to warrant explanation. Plus, not only is this explanation unnecessary, it also makes no sense. Sweets can't keep you awake for 48 hours. The movie is just starting to not make sense, but it's gonna get way worse later on, believe me. I'd also like to point out that while this movie isn't shot poorly, it does have some noticeable moments of bad editing.
Assistant Director Perla's dead heart attack just now.
We need to contact every FBI agent on their team.
Bye.
It's not just seen in the cuts or the audio mixing, it feels like this movie is straight up missing scenes. Like, I swear that there are a lot of things that would have been explained a lot better, but they probably got cut for some reason. There's a lot of indications of this. For instance, Ryuk says that he's disappointed in Light and he advised him earlier to get rid of the Death Note.
I asked politely, but you didn't hear me. Let the note go. Look at the strife it's causing you and your little girlfriend.
But he never actually did that. He said it was an option for Light to get rid of the Death Note, but he never suggested that Light actually do it. In fact, he did the opposite. He coerced Light into using the Death Note. Now he says that he wanted Light to give it up. That's kinda weird. You never said that. Another time is in the scene when L and Light meet for the first time.
You're the guy. You're L.
Well, that's weird. How would you know his name is L? Why isn't L more surprised that Light knows his name right away? So basically what I'm saying is if you're actually paying attention when you watch this movie, you just get punished. Also, real quick, I'd like to talk about what's happening in this scene. First of all, a majority of the original series consists of L and Light playing an intricate cat and mouse chase. When L first confronts Light, he does it by being friendly to him. He even invites him to help in the investigation to find Kira because he thinks it's more important to have him close to him. He says that yeah, he's like 5% sure that Light is Kira, but he isn't aggressive about it because that's not how you form an investigation. Even when he says directly that Light is a suspect, he lies to him and he says he's only 1% sure, despite him having established to the audience that it's actually around 5%. He's subtle in his approach. Every line shared between the two are part of their plots against each other.
It's been a while, but at one time I was actually the British junior champion.
If I ask him if he's British, would he think I'm trying to find out more about him because I'm Kira?
So how does the movie treat their first interaction? L confronts Light in a restaurant and he straight up just says, "I know you're Kira. I'm 100% sure." Then they start yelling at each other. This is not how you interrogate somebody. This man is straight up foolish. But just as foolish is the fact that Light doesn't even hide that he's Kira. The movie wants you to believe that Light is smart, but the second he's confronted, he starts cracking under pressure. So who's dumber in this scene? I guess everybody's dumb. That's cool. Great. So anyway, Light just leaves the restaurant because why wouldn't you? And he finds Mia is in front of his house in the rain, wanting to apologize for wanting to kill his dad in an earlier scene. Yeah, she wanted to kill his dad. She wants to murder everybody, but it's never really explained why, so we're not gonna worry about it. And then she says this.
I'm a fucking cheerleader, Light.
This was honestly one of the most shocking moments in the film for me, because I forgot that she was a cheerleader. I'm not bothered by her because she's around all the time. I'm honestly more bothered because I don't know her. Why is she an edgy murderer? Why is she so evil? She wants to kill Light's dad at the drop of a hat. Oh, she likes violent movies. Okay, she likes violent movies. Whatever, so do I. So do a lot of people who aren't murderers. This is the only development or background we get on this person. She gets more screen time than Ryuk. Ryuk's not even in the fucking movie most of the time. Also, I should bring up that Light shows her the Death Note the second he starts talking to her. Are you truly the dumbest son of a bitch in the world? In the original series, Light builds this booby-trapped drawer in his desk that will probably set his whole room on fire if anybody tries to jimmy it open and find the Death Note. In this movie, Light shows it off to the first girl that he meets. He even leaves it around to get stolen. Now remember, this is the character that they want us to think is super, super smart. So all of this stuff is bad, but it's not that bad. But then things take a huge turn when Light decides to brainwash L's manservant Watari. This is where the movie completely loses any structure or consistency that it might have possessed in the first place. So Light decides to use the Death Note to brainwash Watari into getting L's real name from this database or whatever. So you can use the Death Note to manipulate somebody for 48 hours before they die. But Light doesn't want Watari to die for some reason, so he decides to burn Watari's page right after he gets the information that he wants. Apparently, one of the rules in this movie is that you can burn someone's page and you'll stop them from dying. Okay, first of all, the rule about burning the page makes no fucking sense. Ryuk says you only get to save one person by doing this. So what happens if you burn a page with a bunch of names on it? Y'all have been writing way more than one name on these fucking pages. That rule makes no sense, Ryuk.
There's so many fucking rules.
Secondly, how the fuck did Light mind control Watari without knowing his full name? The film establishes that you need the full name of a person that you're going to kill. He just writes down Watari. You're telling me that his name was just Watari? Like he has one name?
What name? Who are you, Seal?
Okay, so he has one name. Fucking whatever. Now that implies that L is the biggest fucking idiot in the whole world. He hides his identity, he doesn't use his real name, but he lets his fucking adoptive father walk around with his name and face known by everybody. He's literally handing his name to people. And he says he's pretty sure that Light is Kira, so he can assume that Kira can get information from the police because Light's dad has met Watari. Light could easily get the name and face of Watari. So when Watari goes missing, and you realize that this wasn't L's plan at all, he starts going fucking crazy.
You have crossed the line. Forced me to do the same, and I assure you, you will not survive. Try my son again.
He goes absolutely fucking insane.
Tear this place apart. Tear it apart!
It is so inconsistent when considering how he's been acting up until this point. Again, if you're ignoring the original series and you're just going off the logic that this movie has established, you'll see just how many inconsistencies exist. For instance, Light all of a sudden doesn't want to kill Watari. He never actually says why, so I guess we're left to assume that maybe he doesn't want to kill people who haven't done bad things. He says he'd kill anybody who has sex with Mia, though. He says he'll kill L, even though L hasn't done anything evil. So which is it? Also, why didn't Watari finish what he was saying before he died? What happens is, he starts reading the information that Light brainwashed him into finding, but then he stops, talks to these cops, and dies. He was instructed only to do what he was told, and he didn't even do that much. Did you just write in the Death Note, Watari finds the information and reads it to Light, but if anyone breaks in and interrupts him, he has to stop in the middle of his sentence and die. So anyway, a bunch of shit happens that isn't important, and then Light learns that Mia has been using the Death Note behind his back, and that she's a super evil, crazy psycho person. But then she also says that she wrote his name down, and that he's gonna have to give her the book, like make her the permanent owner of the Death Note, so that she can burn his page and spare his life, but then she gets to keep the Death Note. Also, her plan doesn't make any sense. You guys said that you need 7 days to pass the book on. It's only been 2 days. I've been keeping track. This shit is so vague. So Light can just give the Death Note to somebody and bypass the 7-day rule? Ryuk has said many times that if Light doesn't want the Death Note anymore, he has to just leave it somewhere for 7 days. You see what I mean when I say that this shit feels like it's missing scenes? So anyway, now Light is running to the Ferris wheel so he can meet Mia and they can have their exchange of the Death Note. I'll get to why this is stupid in a moment. But first, we have a stupid-ass chase scene. So L is chasing Light because he's upset that Watari died. L steals a fucking police car, drives around Seattle like a madman, and somehow he finds Light running around downtown. What the fuck? How did he find him? Seattle's pretty fucking big. How did he find him by erratically driving through the streets and screaming like a maniac? L and Light are also explicitly going out of their way to wreak havoc during this chase. It is cartoonishly chaotic. You might think, okay, Light is obviously trying to throw things in the way and make it harder for L to pursue him. But there's even a point in the chase where the mess that Light made is the only reason that L gets to follow him. Plus, L is creating even more chaos than Light is. So anyway, after the chase scene, Light and Mia meet on the Ferris wheel that they had a date on earlier in the movie. And if this shit wasn't already dumb, it's about to get drop dead stupid. Literally. So when you first watch this scene, you may ask a few questions. Why did they meet at the Ferris wheel? Wouldn't this be a pretty dumb place to get cornered? You have absolutely no escape route. How did she beat him to the Ferris wheel? How did the police know where to find them? Also, why are there like 100 cops? The cops were sent to do two things.
This Detective Turner. I want every available unit looking for the individual known as L. He should be considered armed and dangerous, and I want my son put in protective custody until he's located.
1. Apprehend L because he's dangerous and crazy. And 2. Escort Light to safety. Well, the cops found L after the stupid chase scene, so why are there a million of them here at the Ferris wheel? Also, why are they wearing riot gear? Don't worry, the movie apparently has a reason for all this shit. Except for the reason why there are so many fully armed police officers there. There's actually no reason for that. So Mia is like, fuck you, give me the death note, and she steals it from him. And then we get the reveal that he wrote that she would die if she took the death note from him. Huh? Since when can you queue up a death like that? We're never shown that you can have these conditional deaths before, that if X happens, then this person will die. That wasn't established at all. Okay, whatever. So now they're both fucked and they fall to their deaths and die. Except Light didn't die because he fell in the fucking water. Oh, don't worry. I'm gonna get to it. By the way, L is just at the Ferris wheel also. I'd like to point that out. Remember how he was approached by the police? Remember how they're supposed to keep him away from Light? Yeah, he's just here now. No explanation. So then Light wakes up in a hospital because apparently he was in a coma. Don't worry. I'm getting to it. And then his dad comes up and he's like, hey, I figured out that you're Kira because it's actually really fucking obvious. And then Light reveals his grandmaster plan. And it's the dumbest fucking plan in the whole movie. So let me see if I got all this right. So Light used the death note to make everything, and I mean everything, happen the way it did. So he made it so that the Ferris wheel would get destroyed. That's insane, but whatever, I'll go with it. That's actually the least crazy thing that happens here. Then Mia grabs the page with his name on it, throws it in a fire in midair, and then dies herself. He actually wrote this shit down to happen just like that. I am not kidding. So Light can also manipulate what a fucking piece of paper does while describing how someone dies. What if there was no fire nearby? Keep in mind that Ryuk says something has to be physically possible for it to happen. If your plan was to fucking kill her all along, why did you need to make this clause where her death begins when she takes the death note from you? Why didn't you just write her name down right away? Then say that she burns your page before she dies. Then if you don't want her to die, just burn her page after that. You don't need to start this elaborate chase through the city and die on a Ferris wheel. There are so many easier methods than this. So what was the point of all this shit? Oh, it's because he needs a reason to clear his name. Oh, but Light, listen, Light, listen to me. Listen, buddy. I don't know if you know this, but the cops don't think you're Kira. I should also point out that Light literally writes down in Mia's description of death that he survives the fall. Okay, that makes no sense. You should not be able to defy the laws of physics in the details of someone else's death. I should also mention one more time that Ryuk says things have to be physically possible.
There's so many fucking rules.
So Light writes in that some guy who like assaults people or whatever would rescue him, put him in a coma for 2 days, while another criminal being controlled by Light grabs the death note and writes names down in it while Light is in a coma. So this is supposed to clear Light's name, since he won't be a suspect if the people are dying while he's in a coma. Now, we established earlier that if a person being controlled by the death note doesn't know something, they can't go do that thing. Watari couldn't tell Light information that he didn't know. So how would this random schmuck go find the death note, something that he doesn't know exists, in the river without knowing where it was? That's not the rules. That's straight up not the rules. You even told me that.
There's so many
Now, you know what? Fuck you. Like I said, Light is not a suspect at all. He doesn't need to do any of this shit to clear his name. Only L thinks he's a suspect and all the cops fucking hate him. Why are you so adamant about clearing your name when you're not really in any fucking trouble? There's only one motherfucker chasing you, man. Why was this entire convoluted plan even necessary? And anybody who was on L's task force was killed by Mia. So there's nobody who thinks that Light is Kira. Also, at the end of the movie, L breaks into Light's house and finds a page from the Death Note. And they tease the fact that he might write Light's name in the Death Note. Hold on a second. Oh boy. Here's the thing. Why would L even think of writing Light's name in the notebook without knowing how it works? How would he know, okay, so this magical piece of paper is how Light has been killing people. The people on the list are dead, sure, but if you went into someone's room and saw this, your mind would not immediately think, this paper is magical, and writing these names down will kill that person. How the fuck did he come up with that? So L has only seen one thing that says that someone's gonna die, and that person isn't dead. So why would he assume that the paper is how people are getting killed? But it's okay, because we never actually see if he does it or not, because it's left ambiguous. Sweet! But then we get to the part of the movie that made me just bust out laughing. I'm gonna show you guys how this movie actually ends.
You humans are so interesting.
It seems like an accident. It feels like this movie had another part after that, but the editor just forgot to put it in. Even Light's face at the last second is like, wait, are we really gonna cut here? Are you sure you want to end the movie like that? And to top it all off, the credits have behind the scenes footage and bloopers in them. Yeah, I'm not fucking kidding. This pulls you out of a movie so hard. This is acceptable in comedy or family films where the tone is a bit lighter, but in a supernatural mystery thriller, this is not the last impression that you want to leave on your audience. Here's the thing. Now, you know, some of the scenes in this movie are kind of goofy, right? Most of it feels like it's kind of intentionally silly. Now, what if the movie was originally supposed to be a black comedy? What if it was fully aware of the silliness and it was just playing it up? That would kind of explain a lot of this stuff. Sometimes it feels like the movie just isn't for real. It's really goofy. When Light and Mia fall off the Ferris wheel and that cheesy music starts playing, I started thinking about how genius it would be if this was just a fucked up spoof of a love story. How they're basically psychopathic, horny teenagers. That would actually be an interesting idea for a movie. Cut out Ryuk and just play on the idea of these two manipulating each other, all while saying how much they love each other. A black comedy romance. Oh wait, that movie already exists. It's called Heathers, and it's actually fucking good. So I'm not gonna say, oh, fans of the series should really watch this movie for a good laugh. No, just go watch Heathers. I don't care, go watch anything else. This movie is just a waste of time. Stop making anime movies. The fact that this movie left itself open for a sequel fucking pisses me off. Don't watch this movie and make the studio think that people actually liked it. Please don't. Because the last thing we need is a sequel to... Oh, fuck. No. No. God damn it.